G'day guys, Ed from Unsealed 4x4 here, and I've got Brad from Outback Armour, and we're going to be installing a 2-inch lift kit in my Hilux. Do you want to go through this kit and show everyone what makes it so special?
Certainly can. So the Hilux kit that we've got, as you said, it's the adjustable range. Yep. So we've got a full bypass adjustable shocks. So the shocks basically have an adjustable dial on the bottom of it.
How many adjustment points?
It's got up to 30 points of adjustment, depending on the style. It's the reason for so many, it's just a fine tune. This kit basically has pretty much everything you need. So right down to some extra components, what we call jounce stops, or progressive rate bump stops.
Yep.
So all the U-bolts, all the greasable pins, greasable shackles, everything that you need to replace that.
We've gone with a 300 kilo constant load leaf spring.
The leaf springs, nice big heavy pack, and they've also got all the slipper pads and clip liners and everything else as well. So this is all designed to make your spring slide nice and easily, so it's not metal on metal contact. We've got these big bad boys.
They're pre-assembled.
So all ready to go. So these ones have been set, preloaded and pre-done with the right coil and the setting to handle the weight that you've got on the front with just the bar.
That's it, and we will be adding a winch too, so we have catered for that
Catered for that.
But sadly it's not going to install itself.
Unfortunately, and with your bad back, I guess I'm going to have to do some of that load.
There's a reason for the madness bringing Brad along here, so we've got an expert, but he's going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting for us.
Hey, enough of the expert, come on.
So what we're going to do now is show you just a few tips on how to install a 2-inch lift kit in a Hilux, or pretty much the majority of dual cabs. It's very, very similar, isn't it?
Yep, very similar. A couple of vehicles a bit different there. So there's some tools that you're going to need and some knowledge on how to do it type of thing, pulling it out. If you're not confident, I'd always suggest to get somebody that knows what they're doing to do it.
For sure, then it's all covered and under warranty, it's safe. But we've got a workshop, we've got tools, we've got the knowledge, so
cool.
Let's start with the front.
We're going to do it by undoing the bottom and removing it that way.
Yep, 2 bolts at the bottom.
Yep, crack your caster camber pins.
Yep.
And the mount for your strut.
Yep.
We can then just remove them.
Cool. So we freed up the camber pins, and now it's time to bring the strut out.
Yep, so grab the top there, get that arm right out of the road, and that should allow that enough room. Come down and out through there.
So we've got the old struts out, but before we put the new ones in, there's a little extra component we need to talk about. So can you run us through the jounce stop?
Yep, so we call it a jounce stop. It's just basically it's a progressive rate bump stop.
Yep.
So the original bump stop is nice and short. This one's longer, it's softer, and it just allows for compression to take up. Right. So again, if you're in that situation where you hit a big woe boy, it's just going to slow down the momentum.
Perfect.
So it increases the rate of the coils and everything else in the front. All right, so we'll grab the original one out, so show you the difference. So in comparison to the amount of rubber and everything, a little bit of Loctite on there, and just a matter of screwing them back in and doing them up.
All right, so just to recap, we've got the old strut out, we've put the new jounce stop in. Brad's disconnected the tie rod this time because this strut's physically bigger. Now, before we put it in, I know you're very passionate about your product. Can you tell me why you thought this product would work well for my vehicle?
For me, our basic range, which is our performance range, and then we've got our adjustable internal bypass range. Both products have so many points of difference that we just looked at ways of making them better.
Right.
So the strength, the welds, the eyes, the bushes, the way the guys have had a threaded spring seat on this one to be able to fine tune the height when you're putting that in. So we do a fully assembled unit ready to go into the vehicle. And then of course with the adjustables, this is just magic. Being able to access this dial for the adjustment on the valving. You're going to love these in the vehicles, I know.
Must be heavy, let's get it in there. You save you carrying it. I'll give you a hand with the nuts on the top. So it's just 3 nuts on the top, hold it in place.
Feed him straight up.
So once you've got the top in, we need to put the bottom just bolt through.
Bolt through there.
Just got to put the tie rod end back in, which is as simple as popping it through. But before we tighten this up all the way, you've got to make sure the car's on the ground because you want the weight on it. If you don't, that's going to want to tear the bush. We finished with the front now. We've got the struts installed. We're on the back of the car now. So we're just going to go through some of the components. Obviously you've got leaf springs, but there's a lot of other bits and pieces that we need to talk about. What have we got?
All right, well, one of the things with Outback Armour we pride ourselves on is a complete kit.
Right.
So the suspension kit that you've ordered for your vehicle comes with all the components to make that kit go together right. In this kit, we've actually added in the extra jounce stops for the rear.
Excellent.
So like the front ones, we've actually got an extended progressive rate bump stop for the rear. So the shocks we're using in the rear, again, are the adjustable range that we've got.
Yep.
So they're a bigger bore, bigger body, bigger piston.
All right, so I think probably best bet is to start tearing in.
Let's
get
get
the shock
into it.
absorbers out, get it on the ground, get it on stands, and
Yep.
lift those big heavy leaf springs in and out. I wish this was a coily.
All right, Evan, as you can see, the brake line on this one's fairly
You
tight.
can play a tune on it.
Yep, so this suspension's just at its full droop. Shocks are still joined and the spring sitting there, and you've still got there. So with our kits, we've actually got some spacers.
Yep.
So instead of doing longer brake lines themselves, we've got some spacers. So we'll rip this one here off. Once you remove the bolt, the brake line can just be moved up out of the road, and then the spacer goes underneath the seat there, and that then just takes all that pressure off the brake line itself. Just one of the extras that we've got here on the back is the jounce stop.
Yep.
So just to show you the difference that that's going to make in the vehicle. So this one here is a solid rubber block that impacts on here. So when that hits, it's a solid bang.
It sure is.
With our jounce stop, obviously the extra length, and it's hollow, so it compresses. So this is going to come in a lot earlier and slow that momentum down.
So you're telling me the leaf springs can actually be comfortable?
The leaf springs can be comfortable, and the gear that's going to be in there is going to handle.
Yep.
Just your stuff going down the road. But if you want to go to the Cape, you want to load it up, do whatever you want to do with it, these are going to be capable of handling that as well.
Cannot wait to see that. Well, let's get this spring out and get the new one in.
So we're sort of at the end of the fit, so we'll get this shock in place. Just a matter of holding it up there.
We're looking good.
All good.
All right.
Kit's in. What are your thoughts?
I have to say, so far we've got more suspension travel. We know it's going to be more comfortable because we've got the adjustment in the shock absorbers, which is there's a huge range. We've got the jounce stops as well, so it's going to be more progressive. And it's also going to carry more weight. How have you done this?
The proof is in the pudding. It's in there. It's really going to be go for a drive.
Yep.
That's going to be the big tell-all, to whether or not it's obviously how you like it. But I'm very confident you're going to be really, really happy with that.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and hit the road, and we're going to come back, tighten up the U-bolts, and you guys can stay tuned to a full review in an upcoming issue of Unsealed 4x4.